Hello everyone, I am Charitha Gunathilaka from Entgra IoT team. I am going to demonstrate how to enroll Android device with Entgra IoT platform. In order to enroll a new Android device, I am going to create a new user role and register a user with that particular role. After creating that user, we can enroll the Android device. After enrolling the Android device, I am going to show how to send in operations to device, add geofencing, remote control in the Android device, file transferring with the device, and applying policies to the device. Finally, I will demonstrate how to use app management components in the IoT server to manage applications with the IoT server. Okay, now let's start with creating a new user role. So I am logging into the system as admin user. Once I log in, I am going to use a management roles section in order to create new role. So as I am supposed to add users into the system which only has some limited capabilities to access the portal but not all the admin functionalities, I am creating role name as user. So in here I am giving following permissions. So authorization verification, subscribe to device APIs, and change device status, enroll and disenroll, and on in device permissions, and group permissions, and notification view permission, platform configuration view permission, and also find the login permission and mobile app and web app management permissions. So once I granted all of these permissions, I am update the role permissions. So it will create an user role in the system with given permissions. So now I am going to add a new user to the system. I am going to use a management again and select the users. So in here I do have add user button. I am clicking that add user button and providing user details. So I am giving my name as the user and my first name and my last name and my email address. Once I add my email address to here, it will send an email notification to me by saying I have been added to Entgra IoT Server. So now I am selecting user roles as the given role. So now I am clicking add user button. Once I click that add user button, you can see that user was added successfully message is appearing in here. When I go to my email account, you can see that invitation email is here. So in that email, you can see my username as well as my password. So I can use this password in order to log in into the system. Once I log in into the system, I can change this password if needed. So let's log in into the IoT server using these credentials. In order to log in into the system, I need to log out first from the admin account. So I am logging out from the admin account first. Now I am going to use this password in order to log in as user Charitha. So I am in the username and my password here. Once I click the login button, it will show me the user consents page. I am clicking that username consent and clicking the approve button to approve all the consents there. When I log in into the dashboard, you can see there's no any devices enrolled here for me. So there's an enroll new device button displaying in here. I am clicking that button and it will navigate me to a device enrollment page. In this page, you can see that out of the box device types are showing. Android and Windows device types can be enrolled directly to the server with that UI. If you don't have any Android device with you, you can still try out the experience by enrolling a virtual device by clicking this tryout link. Currently I am going to show the functionalities with the real Android device. I am selecting that Android device type. So once I click that, you can see that I have navigated to download agent page. In that page I have a QR code which can be scanned by the device, or I can download the APK and install it manually. Further, all the critical steps related to the enrollment is described in here. Okay, Let's enroll my device by using the QR code. So in here you can see my device screen. Now I am going to enroll the device by scanning the QR code. So I am opening the browser and selecting the QR application and scan the QR code. Once I scan the code, I am clicking the Go button to download the APK. You can see that APK is now downloaded. Okay, I am opening the downloaded APK and going to install it. Since my device is blocked installations from unknown sources, I have to go to settings and allow unknown sources. And then I am clicking the install option. Okay, now it's installed. I am clicking open in order to install the application. So in this very first screen you can see that disclaimer of the agent. So it's describe all the functionalities of the agent, and you might need to give your consent by clicking the continue button. Here you can select whether you are using work profile enrollment or just a personal profile enrollment. So I am clicking skip and go to enrollment button to enroll this device as user's personal profile. In this screen I need to provide the server URL in order to connect with the server. So I am giving my server URL here. Since server is running on default port, I am giving port as 8280 and clicking the start registration button. Here I need to enter my organization, username and password. Since I am enrolling this device into the super tenant, I don't need to provide any organization information. Otherwise, I need to specify the tenant name as the organization here. So for the username, I am providing my name, Charita, and I am entering the password as mentioned in the email. Once entered all details, I am clicking the sign in button. Once it's authenticated, you can see that policy agreement is showing to me. Once I click the agree button, I can continue with the activating device administrator. So in this dialog, you can see all the capabilities of the agent, and you need to click activate button, enroll device and grant the device administrator privileges. Once you activated the agent, you might need to allow all the necessary permissions. Once I finish with allowing all the permissions, I need to grant permissions for network usage. So I am granting that permission. And then I need to provide the PIN code. So this PIN code will be used to authorize any critical remote operations like remote device wipe or remote device reset performed by administrators. Then I am clicking the set PIN code button. So now device is enrolling in the system. Okay, now you can see the device. Now you can see the Entgra Device Management Agent registered UI. With this UI, you can manually synchronize with the server, check the device information, change the PIN code you have set to reset the device if needed, and unregistered the agent, and you can see the agent version information as well. If I go to the device information, you can see RAM usage, internal memory usage, external memory usage, battery health, device IMEI, device name, its MAC address, model, operator details if there are any, OS versions, whether device is rooted or not, encryption details, and also the data usage of the current cycle. Now let's go back to the device management portal application. You can see my device is showing in here. With these options, I can group this device, edit device name or remove device instance. So I am going into the device details by clicking the device. So when I go into the device details page, you can see its battery level, its RAM usage, internal storage utilization and the external storage utilization. In here you can see that reboot and upgrade firmware operations are disabled, as these operations are only permitted to run on COP type of devices. So if I see here, you can see that there are some list of operations which are sent to the device. So this log can be used to monitor and audit any operations sent to the device. And if I go to the location tab, you can see device location in the map. In addition to that, you can add geofences and stationary alerts, speed alerts as you need it. So let's look at that feature in the later. So also if I go to the application tab, you can see all the external applications installed into the device listed in here. And if I added any policies, you can check the policy compliance with that UI. And also the remote session UI is here, and I can connect to the device remotely and manipulate some operations. Okay, let's now get started with the remote operations. So I am clicking the connect to device button here and waiting for device response. Now device is connected with the shell as the remote control. So I can enter any shell command like this, and it will execute in the device itself and show me the results. So in that way you can remotely control the device shell as you need it. And if you need to watch the device logcat, you can go to the logcat tab and refresh the logcat button. And with this one you can see all the logs related to device agent itself. Further, you can go to the screen share option and start the screen share in order to view the device screen in real time. So I am clicking that screen sharing button, and if I go to the device UI, you can see that it's asking me for the device screen sharing permission. So I am clicking that start now button in order to accept the permission. So here you are seeing the device UI as it is showing in the my screencast application. With this functionality, you can watch the device screen remotely while user doing any actions in the real time. With the BYOD enrolled devices, you can only see the screen, but with the COP enrolled devices, you can control the screen using this device management UI. Now I am closing the remote control session. So once I close the session, you can see that I have been redirected to the operations log, and you can see that remote connect operation is completed successfully. Okay, let's check geofencing capabilities available with the IoT server. In here I can define new geofence, and based on that geofence definition I can get alerted when particular device is exiting geofence or entering into geofence or stationary at a geofence. Also it is possible to add speed alerts if that particular device is moving faster than a particular speed. So in this case, let's add geo exit alert in order to get notified when user exit from a particular area. So I am clicking that exit alert button and clicking the draw area button. In here I am selecting rectangle and marking the area like this. So in order to identify that fence, I need to give a name. I am naming it as office. So once I save that geofence, it will notify me if that particular device is moving out from the particular geofencing area. So I am using fake GPS location application, and with that application I can simulate different locations. Here you can see that device is moved from the geofencing area, and I am getting that notification alert saying that device is out from the area. If I also click the device notification, you can see that that device is outside from the office area and its speed is showing here. So once I disengage the fake location, it will move back to the previous location. Okay, let's look at the file transfer capabilities available with the Entgra IoT Server. So I am selecting file transfer. With this dialog, I can send files to devices or get files from the device. First I am selecting to device option, and in that way I can send files to the device. So I am selecting FTP as the protocol, and I am getting the file URL from my local running FTP server and pasting it. And if I specify any location, then that file will be stored in that specified location. Otherwise, it will be stored in the default download directory. So I am not entering any specific location, but let it to download to the default download directory. So if I tick that authentication required option, then I can specify any username or password if that FTP server requests authentication. Otherwise, I can untick it. So I am sending the file transfer operation to the device. In a moment, you will see that file is downloaded in here. Likewise, you can easily send files to device using file transfer feature. As same as sending files to the device, you can get files from the device. In this demo, let's get that Enrolling Agent APK into my FTP server location using the Entgra IoT Server's file transfer feature. So I am clicking the file transfer operation and selecting from device option and setting the FTP as the protocol. I am adding the location of the file from the device since it is located in the SD card downloads directory. I am adding its file URL like this, and then I need to specify what is the URL I need to upload the file. So I am adding that particular FTP URL like this. Since this FTP server doesn't require any authentication, I can send that operation to device without any authentication requirement. So that operation is triggered now. So once I added that operation, you can see that my device is showing notification asking to allow to send a particular file into the server. This consent will only required if you are enrolling your device as BYOD devices. For co-op devices, file transfer can be done without any user's consent. So I am clicking that allow options to send that file to the server. When I check the FTP server, you can see that APK file is uploaded into here. In that way, you can easily retrieve files from devices using file transfer feature. Now let's look at policy management feature available with the IoT server. So I need to log out from the system first, and in order to add policies, I need to log in as admin user. So I am logging in as admin user and going to policies section by clicking the add policy button. So in here you can see that it's having options to add Android based policies or Windows based policies. Since we have out of the box Android and Windows support, I am clicking Android device first. In here I can configure the policy profile. So basically in this side you can see there are various policy configurations available. So if I select the passcode policy, it can be enable that policy and configure its parameters as needed. For the passcode policy, you can allow simple values, or you can require alphanumeric values, or you can specify minimum passcode length, etc. And if you go to the restriction section, you can enable various restrictions like allow use of camera, or other than that you can specify various other configurations like credentials configuration, VPN configurations, etc. So some of these policies are only applicable with work profile or even device owner policies. So these are specified with the information labels with the product itself. So if I go to the encryption setting, I can enforce device to encrypt the storage, or I can set up Wi-Fi configurations as a policy, or I can select VPN policies and work profile configurations, cooperate on single use devices policies, and application restrictions like blacklisting and whitelisting like this. And also you can specify runtime permissions for work profile or COSU, and also you can specify the system update policy in order to get the firmware upgrades. So in here let's try to apply a simple policy. So I am going to apply passcode policy to my device. So I am selecting allow simple device and unticking that require alphanumeric value. I am setting maximum password length as 6, and I am going to apply that policy to my device. So I am click in continue button, and in here I can define which group or which users I need to apply the policy. So if I need to apply policy for a particular set of user roles, I can select that user roles that way. In that way you can apply certain policy to sales staff in your organization, or certain policy to admin staff of your organization, etc. Or even you can specify users like this. So if you need to apply policy for one single user, you can select that particular users like this. Or even if you need to apply this to any user roles, you can select like this. Other than that, you can also specify groups in order to apply policies. By default, the system is equipped with BYOD and CORP groups, so you can select to apply this particular policy only to the BYOD group, etc. So in that you can select target group for the policy. So in this case I am not selecting any user roles or users or groups. I am let it to apply all the devices in my current platform. So I am clicking continue to apply the policy. So in here I can define policy name. So I am giving it as password policy, and I am selecting publish button to effect this policy immediately. So in that way you can see that policy is created, but still that policy is not applied to the device because it is not clicked that apply changes to device button. Once this clicked, all the policies will apply to the currently active devices. So once I click, you can see that that policy is now active. So if I go to the device page, you can see that I have already set that screen lock password policy, but it doesn't enable yet. So if I click that OK button, it will allow me to set a password. So I can select what kind of password I can set. Based on the policy criteria I have defined, I have options to add pin code, password, or fingerprint. So I'm going to add a pin code here. So once I click that one, I can define a pin code like this. But still you can see, even I entered 4 digits of pin code, it asking me to have at least 6 numbers, as I have defined passcode length to 6 digits. So I am adding 1 2 3 4 5 6 and continue that, and I can confirm my pin code like this, and now policy has been applied. So if I go to the device management page and its policy compliance section, you can see that that policy is successfully applied. It's marking as already applied policy. Now let's look at capabilities of managing applications with the Entgra IoT Server app management capabilities. So in order to publish an application for devices, first I need to go to the application publisher. So I am logging into the publisher, and here I can add a new mobile application by clicking this button. So first I need to upload the APK file. I am selecting this APK file, which belongs to Facebook Lite application, and then clicking next. I am providing application name as Facebook Lite. Use the same for display name, same for the description, and I can select you can see the application version automatically retrieved through the APK here, and also its category. We can select multiple categories there, and then you can upload the banner image for the application. So I am selecting that banner image and one of the screenshots and application icon. Okay, now this application is being added to the Entgra IoT Server App Manager publisher. Once that particular application is added to the publisher, it will the developer who add the application can send it for the review. Once that is sent to the review, any admin user can approve that application publishing request. Once it's approved, it can be published to the store. So now that Facebook Lite application is published to the application store. Okay, let's log out from the admin account. So I am logging into the store. Since I haven't signed in, there's no any application showing in here. Once I click the sign in button, it will prompt me the login UI. I am logging with the default credentials and giving my consent to access the application. So in here you can see that application store is listed with the application which is published as the admin. So this Facebook Lite application is showing in here. Once I go there, you can see all the banners and screenshot images we have uploaded is showing in here. So now I am going to install that application into my device. So I am clicking install option and select instant install. Otherwise I can also specify particular date and time to install application, and then after clicking the instant install I am clicking yes to install that application. So in here it will display all the devices enrolled by me to install the application. So I am selecting my device and it will install the applications to the device. So if I go to the device UI again, you can see that it prompted to install. So it is blocked since I haven't enabled unknown sources there. So I can go to the security and allow unknown sources for this particular application, and then I can select install option to install this application into my device. So it is now installing. So in that way you can simply send application to users' devices to install. Thank you very much for watching this demonstration.